Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy. Thanks for joining us today, October 15th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. So today in the Marian world, we have a number of things that are taking place. First off, we'll take our lead from the Abbot Orsini, who tells us that they celebrate Our Lady of Terouenne, Terouenne, Terouenne. The church was dedicated in 1131, we're told by Milo, its 13th bishop. Okay. Likewise, in Madesimo in Sondrio, Lombardy, Italy, they celebrate Nostra Signora d'Europa, Our Lady of Europe. This was a monumental mountaintop shrine inaugurated for the European Ecumenical Center for Peace, and that took place in 1957. Likewise, they celebrate in Nidwalden, Switzerland, in the Niederrickenbach village in Oberdorf, Maria Rickenbach. This is an alpine chapel that was rebuilt after the French invasion of 1798. The church was consecrated, you might have guessed, October 15th, 1869. Likewise, they celebrate Our Lady of Walsingham in Walsingham, Norfolk, England, in the United Kingdom. This is to recall the translation, the change of the movement of the image of Our Lady of Walsingham from the parish church to the present shrine. And this movement, like they finally returned it to their shrine, like we know their shrine was destroyed during the Reformation. The present shrine, this movement of the statue back to its new home, took place on October 15th, 1931. And then last but not least, we also celebrate, Matka Piękne Milosk Domianwic Lodz in Poland. Probably everybody really knew what that was. The story goes that in the 1620s, Jakuba and Wojciech Selostov, dealers in lead and copper, were traveling from their home base in Krakow through the forests of central Poland when they lost their favorite horse. After an unsuccessful search for said horse, the brothers vowed that if they ever found her, they would build a chapel to Our Lady. 7 years later, passing that way again, they heard a familiar neighing. It was their beloved mare with 7 foals, right? So she had 7 baby horses. Built on that spot is the Chapel of the Holy Nativity of St. Mary. That church was consecrated on October 15th, 1633, by the Primate of Poland. On its altar, the brothers placed a copy of the ancient icon of Our Lady of the Snows in Rome, whose Krakow replica was connected with a recent victory over the Turks in Poland. We heard about that a few days ago. Because of the addition of cherubim to the composition, the Domanowice icon became known as Our Lady of the Angels. In 1975, another primate of Poland, Stefan Cardinal Wyszynski, designated the chapel of the Sanctuary of the Mother of God, Consoler of the Afflicted, and Mother of Beautiful Love. Under this title, the icon was crowned on September 8th in the year 2000. And so that's what we're celebrating in the Marian world today on October 15th. For today's reading from True Devotion to Mary by St. Louis de Montfort, we're continuing with this first section talking about devotion to Mary in general, discernment of true devotion to our Blessed Lady, that's the second section. And now we've started, after we've considered false devotions, we're considering what true devotion should look like. If you remember yesterday, we gave his 5 characteristics: interior, tender, holy, constant, and disinterested. And we talked about interior devotion and tender devotion. So today, let's talk about holy, constant, and disinterested. At point 108, he says, true devotion to Our Lady is holy. That is to say, it leads the soul to avoid sin and to imitate in the Blessed Virgin particularly her profound humility, her lively faith, her continual prayer, her universal mortification, her divine purity, her ardent charity, her heroic patience, her angelical sweetness, and her divine wisdom. These are the 10 principal virtues of the Most Holy Virgin. Right? So again, true devotion to Mary, not only is it interior, flows from the inside out, it's tender, like a child to its mother, but it's also holy, meaning it leads us to holiness in a particular way because we want to imitate the Blessed Virgin Mary. At point 109, true devotion to Our Lady is constant. It confirms the soul in good and does not let it easily abandon its spiritual exercises. It makes it courageous in opposing the world and its fashions and maxims, the flesh and its weariness and passions, and the devil in his temptations. So that a person truly devout to our Blessed Lady is neither changeable, irritable, scrupulous, nor timid. It is not that such a person does not fall or change sometimes in the sensible feeling of devotion or in the amount of devotion itself. But when he falls, he rises again by stretching out his hand to his good mother. If he loses the taste and relish of devotion, he does not disturb himself because of that. For the just and faithful client of Mary lives on the faith of Jesus and Mary, and not on sentiments and sensibilities. Now, that's an interesting point that he's making here at 109, that devotion to Our Lady is constant. And so, again, it's not just a matter of feeling, close, or feeling, oh yeah, this devotion makes me feel so great. Because he says, even with these people, he says, you might lose the taste and the relish. Like maybe, you're like, oh, I don't feel, just overwhelming joy and happiness because I'm a child of Mary. But he says, we don't get worked up about that. Because we live on faith, because we know she's our good mother, and not like the feelings that we have. And now we come to point 110, which is the discussion of the fifth characteristic. Lastly, true devotion to our Blessed Lady is disinterested. That is to say, it inspires the soul not to seek itself, but God only, and God in His Holy Mother. A true client of Mary does not serve that august queen from a spirit of lucre and interest, nor for its own good, whether temporal, corporal, or spiritual, but exclusively because she merits to be served, and God alone in her. He does not love Mary precisely because she does him good, or because he hopes in her, but because she is worthy of love. It is on this account that he loves and serves her as faithfully in his disgusts and drynesses as in his sweetnesses and sensible fervors. He loves her as much as on Calvary as at the marriage of Cana. Oh, how such a client of our Blessed Lady, who has no self-seeking in his service of her, is agreeable and precious in the eyes of God and of His Holy Mother. But in these days, how rare a sight it is. It may be less rare than I have taken my pen to write on paper than I have taught, in public and in private, during my missions and for many years. So he says, okay, so now that I've written about it, he says maybe hopefully it's more common. But again, this disinterested thing, right? It takes us back to the words of Saint Bernard. He used to ask his monks. He's like, okay, what do you want? Do you want the consolations of God or the God of all consolations, right? So it doesn't mean that as we serve Mary as her servants, that at every moment we're going to have overwhelming joy and happiness, and we're just going to have that overwhelming consolation, that fire of charity burning in our hearts. No, not necessarily. But we don't serve her because of that, right? We serve her because she deserves to be served, not because of the way she makes us feel.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our Marian podcast. As St. John Paul II teaches us, from Mary we learn to love Christ, her Son, the Son of God. Through her intercession, may we grow ever closer to Him. We encourage you to share this with a loved one or friend, and help spread our devotion to Mary. Thank you, and God bless.